Some stories are so bizarre, so completely ridiculous, that they sound like something out of a bad comedy movie. But this actually happened. On November 12, 1970, the people of Florence, Oregon, found themselves facing a very unusual problem. A problem so big, literally, that it would take an explosion, a ton of bad decisions, and a whole lot of regret to solve it. This is the story of the exploding whale. Our story begins when a massive 45-foot-long sperm whale washes up on the shores of Florence, Oregon. This thing was an absolute unit, weighing nearly 8 tons, or, to put it another way, about the weight of 2 full-grown elephants. Now, you might be thinking, okay, a dead whale, no big deal, just tow it back into the ocean, right? Oh, if only it were that simple. The problem was, the whale had been rotting in the sun for days. It stank to high heaven, and the longer it sat there, the worse it got. Beachgoers complained. Businesses worried about the smell driving customers away, and city officials knew they had to act fast. Enter the Oregon Highway Division, the department that, for some reason, was put in charge of dead whale disposal. Their big idea? Explosives. Yes, TNT, dynamite. Blow it up and let nature handle the rest. The logic was simple. If they blasted the whale into tiny pieces, scavengers like seagulls and crabs would eat up the remains, and the beach would be clean. Problem solved, right? What could go wrong? Well, a lot, actually. On November 12, 1970, a crowd of spectators gathered to witness this scientific solution. Local news reporter Paul Linman and his cameraman were there to cover what they thought would be just another day at work. Meanwhile, the Oregon Highway Division carefully placed half a ton of dynamite, that's 20 cases of explosives, on one side of the whale. Their plan was to blast most of it toward the ocean and let nature do the rest. But here's the thing about explosives. They don't always behave the way you expect them to. At exactly 3:45 p.m., the countdown began. The crowd fell silent. Cameras rolled, and then, boom! For a moment, it seemed like everything had gone according to plan. A huge cloud of smoke and debris filled the sky. But then, something terrifying happened. Instead of turning into small, manageable chunks, massive pieces of rotting whale were now flying through the sky at high speed, like some kind of disgusting meat meteor shower. One 200-pound chunk of whale blubber crashed right onto a parked car, completely flattening it. The owner of the car? A local man who had just bought it brand new. And now, it was whale meat roadkill. People screamed and ran for cover as blubber rained down on houses, businesses, and innocent bystanders. The smell? Unimaginable. Even worse, a huge chunk of the whale was still there, barely moved by the explosion. The plan had completely backfired. In the end, cleanup crews still had to manually remove the remaining whale, something they were trying to avoid in the first place. And the birds? The scavengers that were supposed to handle the mess. They never even showed up. As reporter Paul Linman later put it, the blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds. The exploding whale incident has since become a legendary tale in Oregon's history. In fact, it's so famous that Florence, Oregon, even has a park named after it. Yes, really. You can visit Exploding Whale Memorial Park. Because if there's one thing we've learned from this story, it's that sometimes when faced with a big problem, the worst solution might just be the one you think is the easiest. If you enjoyed this ridiculous piece of history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And let me know in the comments, what's the most absurd historical event you've ever heard of?